Hi there, and welcome to episode 3 of my blog project. This week's blog entry marks the halfway point of my project. Before the episode begins, I am going to briefly recap my introduction episode and relate the skills I've learned so far back to my short, medium, and long-term plans. This basically means I'm going to be explaining the uses of the skills I've learned so far and the progression opportunities that they allow. And it's all going to link back to the plan that I discussed in my introduction episode. This week I plan to recap all the rudiments I highlighted last week and begin the process of learning new ones. So my aim this week is to play single stroke rolls at a speed of 176 BPM. This has been my primary goal for single stroke rolls since the beginning of the blog, as this is the speed of my chosen song, which is Just by Radiohead. Once I've achieved this skill to this point, I will stop developing it and instead begin practicing it to place within my chosen song. This basically means that I won't be speeding up the skill any further, so I won't play it at a speed past 176, and instead I'm going to keep practicing it at 176 so that it's consistent and ready for the song. And I will showcase that in my final entry blog. I will also input clips of me playing single stroke rolls in various other tracks to showcase its versatility. I'm going to do this because it links it back again to my plan from the introduction, and it will highlight the usefulness of this exercise and rudiment and how it can be used in different ways. This week I'm not aiming to add any new rudiments. I'm instead aiming to achieve my own personal goals for the 3 I currently have. So my personal goals for the 3 I have: double strokes. I would like to play at a cap at about 120 BPM. I don't want to aim any higher than this because I think that goal personally is unachievable for me, so I'd like to keep it at 120. And paradiddles, I think I'd like to keep it at a similar rate. This is just because I know that it's an achievable goal for me and that 120 BPM is quite a common BPM, so I will still be able to use these skills in a variety of songs. It won't limit me entirely. So the reason why I would like to get these 3 skills at my own personal standard this week is because next week in the 4th episode I would like to add more rudiments. These rudiments are flams and flamadiddles, which I would both be playing to a metronome. In my own introduction blog I did state that I was going to add buzz rolls to this project. However, after looking at double strokes and buzz rolls, I've decided that the 2 are not similar in a sense, but potentially too similar. And because I've already found the double stroke rolls a challenge, I think it would be an unrealistic goal to set myself. So instead, I have set myself the goal of flams and flamadiddles. I also think that these 2 rudiments are much more widely used. They're very common in fills and they're very common in drum intros for songs. So I think it's been a wise decision to instead learn these rudiments in the next 3 weeks of my project. Here I've inserted the list of progression opportunities that I did show in my introduction video, but I'm just going to take a bit of time here to explain how these progression opportunities link to the rudiments I am learning and how they are going to unlock a lot of potential for me in my future career. The career paths that I have been discussing throughout this blog are a session drummer and a live band drummer, essentially. So the progression opportunities I have listed here are increased control. So rudiments help build muscle memory and refine your wrist and finger movements, leading to greater control and precision in your drumming. I think this is really important because in any situation, a drummer needs to be controlled, needs to be ready, and with any song, you need to have it memorized and knowledged, essentially. The next on the list is enhanced speed. Throughout the blogs, I have been increasing the metronome that I'm practicing these skills at, because essentially the faster I can go, the more opportunities I can unlock for myself. If I can only play a skill at 80 BPM, that means that I am capped at that point. However, if I can play a skill at a more versatile and commonly used BPM, such as 120 or 130, it unlocks a lot more for me. The most common BPM I have found in my experience of playing is around the 100 mark, so I think it's really good to aim for that sort of speed, because it opens a lot more opportunities in careers, and it's common across many genres such as jazz, rock and grunge, and I feel that's really significant. The next on the list is developing independence. So practicing rudiments with different limb combinations can help develop independence in your hands and feet. For this blog, I have mostly been playing these rudiments with my hands. That's because I know personally I need to work on developing my hands before I develop my feet. But I think the skills I have included have really shown that over the 3 weeks so far. I have been using right-left hand patterns, mostly on the snare, but I have seen throughout my playing and throughout the playing of these exercises how it has helped and how it has improved. The final thing on the list is improved timing. I definitely think these skills help with improved timing, and it's something that is so important as a drummer. So rudiments playing with a metronome, it will always help you develop your internal sense of timing, but also it will help you learn how to play along with a metronome. It can be quite challenging and quite intimidating to play along with a metronome. However, in a career path such as a session drummer, it's something that's crucial and necessary. All songs are recorded with metronomes, and I feel like that's something really important to remember. So that is why each week I have been practicing along to a click track to help show that and to help my internal rhythm and precise timing. Here I have just inserted my long-term plan from my introduction video. I've included this because the blog project is essentially my entry point into this long-term plan. My overall goal and plan is to utilise all my knowledge and learning and carry it with me into a career as a session musician. I want to be able to obtain a wealth of knowledge and confidence across genres and take with me these skills, using them consistently and without thought after incorporating them into my muscle memory and unhesitatingly using them. I feel this is really important because the skills I have chosen, such as double stroke rolls, single strokes, paradiddles and flams, are incredibly common, and I will insert tabs from common songs using Songster, which is one of my resource lists, that shows this. It's used in so many different songs, so many different genres, and it's essentially considered the building block of drumming, the basic rudiments. As a session musician, I'd be able to show my skills and continue to use them and still develop them, which is a really crucial point of this project. These skills can always be further developed, whether that means speeding them up, acting more precisely, using hands and feet, which I talked about earlier. They can always still be continued. I think learning rudiments and their place within music is a great step forward and will always prove itself within drumming, and that is again why I've chosen these skills. So now that I've given that recap of my introduction and why I'm choosing to learn these skills, I am going to be showcasing the 3 that I discussed earlier. In this week's entry, I noticed a great improvement in my single stroke rolls. I chose to make quite a large jump in speed this week and believe it showed beneficial. I chose to go from 120 BPM, which I showcased in last week's episode, to 170 and 176 BPM. I think this is beneficial because it means I can keep practicing these single stroke rolls at the speed I need for my chosen song, and it also means that I can spend more time in the episodes focusing on skills I find more challenging as I definitely find double stroke rolls and the upcoming skills more challenging than I do single stroke rolls. So I think making this decision has allowed for me to have more time to focus on other things, and is also going to benefit me in the final showcase. So from now on, I will play singles at 176 BPM in each episode in preparation for my final showcase. I'll basically just be recapping this skill briefly in each episode from now on, just so it stays the way it is basically, and so I can keep making it tighter and more efficient, and just really ensuring that I'm playing along with that metronome as well as I can. However, I did not meet my aim of doubles at 120 BPM this week, and I feel I need to continue developing this skill in speed and control in next week's entry. I did aim to finish with doubles and play them at 120 this week. However, I find that quite challenging, so I have made the decision to carry on building the speed with doubles in episode 4. I will continue to play the single double paradiddle exercise as the blog builds. However, I'm quite happy with my paradiddles and feel they no longer need rehearsing as often as the skills I need to develop and work on. This basically means that I won't be showcasing paradiddles just on their own anymore, and I'm just going to showcase it in the exercise because it's a really useful exercise and it shows, how the skills can flow into each other. My aim next week is to add flams and continue refining my double stroke rolls, and to recap the techniques I've learned so far. This is all in preparation for my final entry and to aid me in my chosen career path.